Hey guys, Jacob Dupre here. When choosing a keyboard, few things are as important as the weight and feel of the keys. When we say weight, it refers to the actual resistance as you press down the key. The feel has to do with the actual texture of the surface of the key. There are three main categories of keyboard weight or action: fully weighted, semi-weighted, and synth action or unweighted keys. But there's even more to talk about than that. Let's get into it right now. Let's define the common terms associated with keyboard action. Weighted action. Weighted action is a type of keyboard assembly used in electronic keyboards and synthesizers. During manufacturing, weights are added to the keys, usually by gluing pieces of metal to the underside of the part of the key where a player's fingers make contact. The extra mass, combined with stronger springs, causes the keys to be harder to set in downward motion, and, depending on the spring and how much weight is added, will change the speed and force with which it returns to rest. The result is a keyboard action that feels or plays much more like mechanical piano keys, which is sometimes preferred among players that want a piano-like action. A further development in weighted keyboards is the use of hammer action keys. Hammer action. Keyboards with hammer action use actual hammers. The idea is that the mechanical forces involved in actually making a hammer move and strike something under the key causes the feel of the action to be very piano-like. These are built so that inside the key assembly, there's literally a small hammer that moves and strikes a surface. The difference between this and just a weighted action is significant, and most players much prefer the hammer action when they are looking for a keyboard with a true piano-like feel. So the idea is that this model right here, when you depress the key, the perceived weight that you're feeling from the hammer moving and all the mechanics of the key is modeled with this right here, and this is a Roland cutaway of a digital piano action. And you can actually see that there's a hammer in there that's striking a surface, which is mimicking this. Graded action. Weighted keyboards with hammer action will often be graded as well. Graded action, also called scaled or progressive action, means the weight resistance of the keys is heavier in the lower end and lighter in the top end of the keyboard, which is like an acoustic piano. Escapement. Some digital pianos have an escapement mechanism. On an acoustic piano, escapement allows the hammer to fall away from the string after the key is pressed. So you can see on the acoustic model, the escapement mechanism, this little arm right here pushes the hammer, literally is throwing it up into the string, which would be this piece of metal here. So this little arm right here, and you see how it falls away from the bottom of this piece. Now, if that didn't happen, this is what would happen. So the hammer would stay against the string, which is here, and the string would never ring, and you would never hear a sound. The escapement in the piano model is then modeled in the digital one, and this Roland one has an escapement. It actually says on here, reproduces key clicks that are unique to grand pianos. So not only is that mechanism a mechanical part of an acoustic piano, but it also does affect the mechanical noises that it makes. So this model right here wants to try to model that, and that just adds to the authenticity and gets it closer to the action and the feel of an acoustic piano. Digital and controller keyboards with piano action use weights and other methods to simulate this behavior in acoustic pianos. Many fully weighted keyboards will often be weighted, graded, and have hammer action to create a feel that is closest to that of an acoustic piano. Semi-weighted action. Semi-weighted keyboards combine the spring-loaded mechanism of synth actions with the addition of light weights attached to each key, similar to those found in weighted action or hammer action keyboards. The result is a key that has light to moderate resistance when you press it, with a rebound to the up position that is a little slower than the springiness of a synth action. The result is a key that has light to moderate resistance when you press it, with a rebound to the up position that is a little bit slower than the springiness of a synth action. Semi-weighted actions will appeal to players who don't need or want the full resistance of a weighted action. Players accustomed to the feel of an instrument like a Hammond organ will most likely prefer semi-weighted action, with one important exception that we'll talk about later: synth action. Synth Action keys, also called unweighted keys, are typically constructed of plastic and use springs rather than weights to return the key to its initial position. Synth Action keyboards produce a quicker and lighter feel than weighted keyboards and semi-weighted, and they work for certain types of music and for playing the sounds of instruments other than the piano. Keyboards can have different styles of keys. Waterfall style keys. Waterfall style keys, commonly found on Hammond organs and other electronic organs, are slightly rounded at the top edge. On the other hand, most weighted action keys have a piano style overhang or lip on the top. The waterfall keys make smears and glissandos, which are common on organ to play, easier to execute. Minnie Keys. Some keyboards have Minnie Keys, which are smaller than those on a piano. Many digital pianos and controllers with 25 keys or less will have this type of key. Chiclet Keys. Some synthesizers have what are called Chiclet Keys. These keys are similar to those found on a computer keyboard. Preset Keys. Vintage organs have what are called preset keys. Preset keys allow you to cycle through various drawbar presets using the lower notes on the keyboard. This is becoming less common in digital organs since most keyboards have methods of recalling presets which use onboard controls rather than actual keys on the keyboard. Ivory Touch. Some keys have synthetic ivory touch, which makes the texture of the key feel like those of a piano key. Historically, white keys on an acoustic piano were made out of ivory and the black keys with ebony. Since ivory is now illegal to buy and sell in most places, synthetic options have become common. This Roland model here actually has Ivory Touch on it, and you can definitely feel the difference, especially compared to digital pianos that don't have Ivory Touch. A piece of advice for you is that if you're used to playing a lot of old grand pianos, like if you grew up with an older grand in your house that had ivory feel or ivory on the keys, then a digital piano with that synthetic ivory touch on it will probably feel natural to you. I hope you found this video both educational and helpful. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like these, or start at Sweetwater for all your music instrument and pro audio needs.